The new year is fast approaching. Have you set any goals for 2015? If you have, how do you plan to achieve them? If you haven't given it any thought, get to it now. Resolve to make 2015 your most successful year yet. Hello and welcome to another edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm your host, Adrian Atkinson. We want you to start the new year on the right footing. So we've packaged a show that is sure to inspire you to high heights in 2015. We kick things off with a timely road safety reminder, followed by the news.
Yo, we don't want to lose you. That's why we're counting on you to stay safe on the road.
Drinking and driving and speeding are a recipe for death and disaster. As to using your cell phone while driving, a mad thing that.
Yeah man, either thing to call, surf the net, text or visit the Facebook page while driving.
Do not use your cell phone while driving. If it is really urgent that you use your cell phone, pull over at a safe location on the road.
Arrive alive. Don't use your cell while you drive.
Let us go for road safety. All the time, every time.
A message from the NRSC and NHF.
Good day, I'm Tamara McHale and this is your GIS News for Monday, December 29. Come January 1, 2015, members of the Jamaican workforce will take home more of their income. This as the income tax threshold goes up by almost $50,000. Tax Administration Jamaica TAJ says tax-free income will move to $557,232 per annum, up from $507,312. This means that the tax-free portion of income now stands at roughly $10,700 per week, $21,400 for fortnightly paid workers, and $46,400 for those who get a monthly paycheck. Meanwhile, the TAJ is advising self-employed persons to use the new threshold to file their estimated income tax returns due March 2015. And pensioners and persons over 65 years are also being reminded that in addition to the threshold, they are entitled to a pension exemption of $80,000 and an age exemption of $80,000. You may contact the TAJ for further information by calling 1-888-829-4357 or clicking on their website, jamaicatax.gov.gm. With an increase in road fatalities for 2014, pedestrians are being urged to exercise greater caution on the nation's roads.
This bolting across the road, it has caused the deaths of 70% of the 97 pedestrians who have been killed so far. Right? A critical thing that pedestrians also must address is the whole issue of impairment. Walking under the influence of text messaging, walking under the influence of cell phone must be a no-no.
Director of the Road Safety Unit in the Ministry of Transport, Works and Housing, Kenut Hare, was speaking on the GIS's Issues and Answers program Sunday. So far, road fatalities for 2014 have exceeded the 305 deaths recorded in 2013. Minister of State in the Works Ministry Richard Azan has pledged his support for flood-affected districts in St. Mary which suffered damage to infrastructure. While on a recent tour of the area, the minister said emergency work would start on the Trial Bridge and communities nearby.
We have taken the decision that we'll try to do some emergency work there to protect the bridge, because that is a major thing that we have to do to protect the bridge. Trial also, we're going to try to put in a footbridge in the meanwhile.
Other affected communities in St. Mary are slated to get help. They include Anota Bay, Ramble, Free Hill, Jacks River, Castle Garden and Hamilton Mountain. In industry news, Jamaica's first organic bamboo charcoal factory is now open in Pembroke Hall, St. Mary. State Minister Sharon Folks Abraham says the government is working with various entities, including the Bureau of Standards, to ensure quality in the bamboo industry.
The identified demand in the USA for Jamaican organic bamboo charcoal is now at £12 million per annum. And I understand also there's some demand in Canada as well for this.
Under the government's bamboo project, focus is being placed on the development of charcoal, cosmetics, furniture, lumber, water filters, houses, and consumable products from the plant. And finally, more than 60 houses in phases 5 and 6 at Landalo in Westmoreland are now wired to the national grid thanks to the rural electrification program. At the commissioning ceremony, Energy Minister Philip Paulwell expressed the hope that the provision of electricity would spur development in the parish.
Electricity is a tremendous enabler for wealth creation. That to get rid of poverty, you must bring electricity to the people.
A similar program is being carried out in the Westmoreland communities of Seaton Estates, Newtown, Charlene and Grotto. Minister Paulwell used the occasion to urge residents to pay their electricity bills. And that's it for GIS News today. I'm Tamara McHale. Thank you for watching.
Government health centers and hospitals have an adequate supply of paracetamols like Panadol and Cetamol to treat the chikungunya virus. Paracetamol in the public health sector is free of cost. For more on chikungunya and the medication, call the Ministry of Health toll-free at 1-888-1-LOVE. That's 1-888-663-5683. Mondays to Fridays, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. A message from the Ministry of Health.
Road conditions. People say a lot of these accidents happen because the roads are too bad. Government now do enough work. What do you say about that? Government keep the road full. What the facts show?
90-odd%. As a matter of fact, let me get more specific. 297 of the persons killed in Jamaica.
Yeah, last year.
This year?
This year, 2014.
Died because of inappropriate behavior of the human being.
Is that so?
Yes.
Nearly all of those who died.
The other person.
Their behavior.
Yeah, human behavior.
We're sensitive. But
a multiplicity of issues.
Yes.
Excessive speeding. Failure to keep traffic lane. But for the motorcyclists, inappropriate braking, inappropriate turning, speeding, not wearing seatbelt, not wearing helmet, stepping out into the road.
Not road conditions.
Human behavior. The other is vehicle defects. Defective brake, defective tires. Not one of these fatalities that has occurred since the start of this year were due to potholes.
Not one.
Not one. Not one were due to bad road conditions. The crashes are occurring on the nicely laid roads, nicely asphalted roads, and people are speeding on them and carrying out inappropriate maneuver. So none of these persons killed so far this year. That is not to say that we are not concerned about the condition of the roads, right? And a lot of work has been done to ensure conditions are maintained.
Yes.
Signs are put up, and the National Works Agency presently doing a lot of road markings across the country.
Fascinating statistics. Canute Hare, the head of the Transport Ministry's Road Safety Unit, in an interview with Ian Boyne yesterday. If you missed that discussion, watch Issues and Answers on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/watchgis. Mr. Hare also spoke about the importance of using seat belts and other safety features in your vehicle. Here's a rundown of some of the more common ones.
Active safety refers to systems that helps to avoid an accident, while passive safety refers to features that minimize the injury to occupants of a motor vehicle when it is involved in a crash. These active safety systems are the steering and the braking of the motor vehicle that are operated by the driver, while the passive safety features are like the airbag and seat belt that is activated by the vehicle itself when it is involved in a crash.
And speaking of a crash, it is important to buckle up at all times, because not only does a seatbelt save lives, but it helps to prevent lifetime and long-term injuries.
Persons must remember that the seat belts are installed in the vehicle as a safety device to minimize the injury that you might receive in the event of a collision. So persons who are wearing the seat belt in this fashion, right, this is not the correct way. The seat belt must be worn right across your shoulder. If the seat belt is too high based on your height, then it can be adjusted to fit right across your shoulder. And if you are a tall person, it can also be adjusted so that it fits you as best as possible for your own safety.
Children are precious and their safety must be taken into consideration when traveling in a motor vehicle. So if they are too small, a child or booster seat must be used. This is recommended for children under the age of 7.
You should also make sure that it is firmly fitted in the vehicle, allowing for minimal forward or sideways movement. Let us use these safety devices to help protect our children from death and serious injuries in road crashes. The headrest is sometimes mistaken for a luxury feature, but it is actually another valuable safety feature on your vehicle. The headrest or head restraint is actually to minimize or prevent a whiplash injury during a collision. It should be adjusted to the height of the driver and passenger's head, and there should be at least 2 inches between your head and the headrest.
This is the highest this particular headrest can be extended. So this will be okay. So in the event of a crash and the vehicle is stopped suddenly, on impact, the seat belt will restrict your forward movement and the headrest will restrict the backward movement to avoid any whiplash injury. During a collision, the airbag acts as a cushion that minimizes or prevents injury.
What the airbag does is to reduce the speed of the forward movement of the occupant. The airbag is designed to inflate rapidly in moderate to severe crashes and provide protection to the occupants' bodies when they strike interior objects such as the steering wheel or a window. However, for proper protection, persons should be correctly restrained with a seat belt.
During a collision, on impact with an object at a speed as low as between 16 and 24 kilometers per hour, the airbag inflation system acts on 2 gases, sodium azide and potassium nitrate, which produces a nitrogen gas that inflates the airbag and suddenly deflates the airbag within a second on contact with the occupant.
Most vehicles carry 2 airbags to the front, one in the steering wheel and the other on the dashboard on the passenger side. But in high-end vehicles, you will find up to 8 airbags at various locations to the front, rear, and even to the sides. Airbags were designed for one use only, and therefore once it has been deployed, you must have new ones installed. Reusing airbags is a dangerous practice.
A country that is healthy, safe, just, and has a prosperous economic environment. That's the vision for Jamaica, or Land of Beauty, for the year 2030. The country, led by the Planning Institute of Jamaica, has been pushing towards the vision from various angles.
This long-term national development plan aims to put the country in a position to achieve developed country status by 2030. By the projected timeline, Jamaica will be the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. The plan is guided by 4 national goals which are interdependent. Goal 1, Jamaicans are empowered to achieve their fullest potential. Goal 2, the Jamaican society is secure, cohesive and just. Goal 3, Jamaica's economy is prosperous. And Goal 4, Jamaica has a healthy natural environment. However, if the plan is to succeed, there must be a carefully developed implementation, monitoring and evaluation framework.
Vision 2030 Jamaica is implemented through alignment with the plans and budgets of ministries, departments and agencies of government in the first place, and also through alignment with the projects, relevant projects in the private sector, civil society, and very importantly, the country programs of our international development partners are highly aligned with Vision 2030 Jamaica.
Implementation of the National Development Plan is done in a systematic way through the use of the Medium-Term Socio-Economic Policy Frameworks (MTFs). Under the MTF, critical priority areas for implementation are identified through a process of consultation with key stakeholders across the society. This is done every 3 years from 2009 to 2030. 29 sector plans which were formulated as part of Vision 2030 Jamaica for areas deemed critical for Jamaica's development also form part of the framework for implementation by influencing the priority areas for the various MTFs. A robust results-based monitoring and evaluation system is being established to ensure that the goals and outcomes of the plan are achieved. This system builds on existing national and sectoral frameworks. An important aspect of the implementation, monitoring and evaluation structure is ensuring that an inventory of the plan is done on a yearly basis and its progress tracked using a range of performance indicators and targets, also known as the Dashboard of National Indicators.
We, in fact, maintain a comprehensive database of these indicators called the JAMSTATS database here in the PIOJ using the software provided by the United Nations. And here's where we have the time series on all of these indicators going back for many years, along with the targets. And this is where we store the data and use this to report on progress periodically.
Also, since 2009, 10 thematic working groups, TWGs, made up of representatives from the public and private sectors and the civil society, have been established to provide a forum for the discussion, implementation, monitoring and evaluation of priorities and activities of Vision 2030 Jamaica at the sectoral level.
They identify problems and try to come up with solutions to ensure that they are overcome. They may help to develop key policies, prepare reports, undertake consultations, and in general do whatever it takes to support the implementation of the plan on a timely basis.
Cabinet, however, has ultimate responsibility for the implementation and coordination of the National Development Plan, while the PIOJ acts as a technical secretariat. In this regard, the PIOJ systematically analyzes and interprets social and economic data and monitors and appraises public and private sector programs and activities based on the goals and outcomes of Vision 2030 Jamaica. The first phase of implementation of Vision 2030 Jamaica 2009 to 2012 is now complete. A report on the progress is being prepared.
I think we have a mixed scorecard of progress so far. We've seen progress in such areas as a very significant fall, for example, in the murder rate, and I think people may well be aware of that. We've exceeded the target that we had set for 2012 already. We have also done quite well in some areas of our education and the certification of our labor force, and also in increasing the percentage of renewable energy sources for the country, where we have done very well there.
However, the country is experiencing lower growth rates than expected, and unemployment and poverty are still pervasive.
We are now focusing through the medium-term economic program and the growth inducement strategy on ensuring that we get back on track in those areas in the next 3 years.
The implementation of the plan does not stop with the private and public sectors. You too can help make Vision 2030 Jamaica a reality. How? By learning about the plan, then sharing and applying the information learned. By committing to being a good role model, taking care of the environment, becoming more involved in community affairs as well as the affairs of the nation, you will help advance the implementation of the plan.
Did you know regular physical activity controls your weight, reduces your risk of cardiovascular diseases, reduces your risk for type 2 diabetes and metabolic syndrome, reduces your risk of some cancers, strengthens your bones and muscles, and increases your chance of living longer? Get active, get fit, stay healthy.
Now that we've got you thinking about the future, have you given any thought to those years ahead when you've retired? How will you pay for life's essentials when you're no longer receiving a paycheck? Watch this feature for some important information on how to plan for your retirement.
Everyone needs some form of financial security when they retire. The planning process starts with the basic principle of financial planning, a budget. Look at your income and expenditure and make spending cuts where applicable. Once you've identified the amount of money to go towards your retirement, invest it in an approved pension scheme that will guarantee an adequate rate of return.
In terms of the accrual on the investment, and of course, something that will ensure that you have a guaranteed income at the point of retirement.
Now, if you work with a company that makes it mandatory for employees to make pension payments to an approved retirement scheme, 5% of your gross monthly salary will likely go towards your pension.
What that means is that the contribution is applied directly to the pension account before taxes are taken. That allows your contribution to be a more efficient contribution for the purposes of your retirement.
The money is not kept in the employer's account. Instead, it goes directly to a pension fund supervised by a licensed financial institution.
If it is, though, that you're planning to properly prepare, a 5% contribution is not likely to give you or generate the sort of income that you will need or sufficient enough to take care of those retirement needs, let's say 5 years, 10 years into the retirement.
So the idea is to gradually increase the amount you contribute over a period of time. Be aware, though, that you can only contribute as much as 20% of your gross monthly income. Employees can access their company's contribution to the pension plan after a specific number of years called the vesting period. If your employer doesn't have a set pension fund, or if you're a self-employed person, you can still visit a financial institution and join an approved pension fund, and you will still get the tax-free benefit. This individual retirement account, however, is only available to persons who are not already a part of an approved pension scheme. Only one pension or retirement fund is permitted under the law. Other forms of investments, stocks, mutual funds, bonds, fixed deposit accounts, etc., can also be used to shore up your retirement reserves. Whichever route you choose, a financial advisor is recommended.
An advisor, for example, can look at your arrangement and say, listen, based on your current level of contributions and based on where you're projected to be, assuming your retirement occurs in 10 or 15 years, we may need to ask you to increase your premiums to make sure there's no shortfall.
Now, some people believe they are too young to start planning for the period when they will not be able to work. That mindset needs to change. Consider this scenario. There are two individuals, both investing $10,000 each monthly, but one started to make the contribution at age 30 and the other started at age 40.
The individual that starts at age 30, at his point of retirement, can expect a projected value on his retirement account of about 46 million. For somebody who started 10 years later, so instead of 30, now 40, their accumulated value is 13 million.
That's a $33 million difference. When it comes to retirement, it costs to wait.
By way of an earlier start, that individual can expect to have a higher percentage of its final income replaced at the point of retirement.
The government has also taken steps to ensure that persons have some form of income when they retire. This is being manifested through the National Insurance Scheme (NIS), a 2.5% mandatory contribution by both the employer and employee. 2% of the contribution goes towards the NIS and the remainder to the National Health Fund (NHF). There are several benefits to the NIS. A funeral grant, widow's benefit, and orphan's benefit are among them. But when it comes to monthly pension payments, the NIS is deemed the great equalizer.
It is based on the principle of work, and it says that all work is work, regardless of how much you are paid for it. So those persons who contribute more to the scheme will earn more from the scheme. But in general, a person who contributes at a low level gets the same flat rate benefit as a person who contributes at a higher level.
So if you are not making your NIS payments, a good time to start is now. You can register with any NIS office in your area. And even if you contribute to the NIS, you're always advised to look at other forms of retirement benefits. Real estate is a good investment.
Take the business of retirement very seriously. So start early is my recommendation. Make sure that once you've started that you stick to it.
Welcome to the FSC Minute. I am Nadine Newsome. Today we discuss pensions regulations, and joining me is Nicolette Hennes, Senior Director of Pensions with the FSC. Welcome to the FSC Minute, Mrs. Hennes.
Thanks, Nadine.
Mrs. Hennes, the FSC started to regulate the pensions industry with the passing of the Pensions Act in 2006. Why was a pensions legislation necessary?
Nadine, prior to the enactment of the pensions legislation, the tax authorities had full responsibility for the approval of pension plans under the Income Tax Act. However, the Income Tax Act was never intended to address the problems that plague the industry. Problems such as delays in the payment of benefits, the failure of employers to pay over contributions, and also the lack of information that members received concerning their pension plan. The legislation sought to establish a framework that would ensure that the entitlements of Jamaicans were secure and that they would be available when that person reaches retirement.
So what has changed since the passing of the pensions legislation in 2006?
In order to expedite the pension reform, the pension legislation process was divided into two phases. Phase 1 focused on the registration of pension plans and trustees and administrators. As of June 30th, 2014, the FSC approved the registration and licensing of 354 superannuation funds, 14 retirement schemes, 26 investment managers, and 28 administrators, as well as over 2,000 trustees. In addition to the registration and the licensing of these entities, the FSC embarked on the monitoring and supervision of the industry.
Thank you, Mrs. Hennes. My guest today was Nicolette Hennes, Senior Director of Pensions with the FSC. For the FSC Minute, I am Nadine Newsome.
And that's our show. We hope you're now in a better position to make decisions that will positively impact your life. We are here to serve you, so please keep the lines of communication open. Email us jamaicamagazine@jis.gov.jm or link us on social media. You may also catch this and other programs on our website, jis.gov.jm. On behalf of the entire team here at the JIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson, reminding you to walk, ride, and to drive safely on our roads.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.